Greetings, fellow hams. My name is Carsten, call sign Oscar Zulu 9 Alpha Alpha Radio, and I'm the author of the Greencube Terminal program, uh, which I will call Terminal during this video. I created the Greencube Terminal, I think March this year or something it started, and I wanted it a terminal program that was a little bit easier and with some more features than what was already available on the web, especially from Andy, Uniform Zulu 7 Hotel Oscar. So I created the terminal, and it has evolved a lot during this time, based on input from many users and friends around the world that have suggested things to add to terminal to make it more user friendly, adding features for rovers and so on. So terminal today is not what terminal was some month ago or even 2 weeks ago. This video will show you some of the fundamental things to set up in terminal. It will also show you some of the features in terminal. It will also mention a few do's and don'ts when you operate on Greencube. There are many users on Greencube, and that is a big problem at times because the satellite sees a lot of congestion, people trying to transmit on top of each other and so on. But yeah, that's another topic. In order to use Greencube for communication, you will need, as I said, terminal program, and you will need sound modem from Uniform Zulu 7 Hotel Oscar Andy. Andy makes a lot of software-based TNCs or modems, and the one you want for Greencube is called Green TNC. You can find it on his webpage, and the current version of Green TNC is 0.10b, I think, at the moment. He updates it, sometimes, and new versions comes into play. But check his website and grab the latest one. When you download the sound modem and you copy it into a folder and execute it, the modem you want to use is in a folder called SSB V10, if it's the V10B or V010B you're using. In my case, I'm running a version 011B. That's a test version I have from Andy, and that one is not released yet to the general public, but it will be at some point. The one you get, as I said, is probably 010B. It looks the same as this though. When starting the program, you need to set a few things up for the sound modem to work. First of all, you need to set in and output for your radio. In my case, I'm using ICOM 9700, and that one presents itself as a sound card to the PC. So I just select IC 9700 mic and speaker outputs as the sound devices. You can find more information about this on the web. Especially Bert Fox Golf 8 Oscar Juliet has a nice web page and a blog where he describes how to get started on Greencube. I highly recommend to read Bert's pages. Settings here, as I said, in and out for the sound. You want single channel output, and you want not checked the dual channel. That's very important, and I've seen quite a few having problems because they had dual channel switched on, so remember not to have it on. The rest of the settings are pretty standard. A thing to bear in mind is these two numbers here. They are extremely important and probably the number one reason why people can't get on Greencube at the first place. Those are two TCP/IP ports for AGWPE and KISS. The KISS server port is used by terminal and sound modem to send and receive data to the satellite. The AGWPE port is used by sound or by terminal to get quality information for each packet received. Andy Uniform Zulu 7 Hotel Oscar added some stuff into sound modem that enabled the terminal to show the quality of each package received from the satellite. So these two port numbers you need to write down, because you will need the same port numbers when setting up terminal. We'll get back to that in a moment. In my case, PTT for the radio is on COM6. The ICOM 9700 gives you two virtual COM ports. You can use those for PTT. Again, this is a little bit out of scope for this video, but just know that you need to set that correct. Sound modem has another setting or another setup page. If I can find it. This is the second page. This is defining the modems, and everything is pretty much default. The only thing you have to bear in mind is the TX delay. This is the delay to use when transmitting. This is basically a preamble to the data you're transmitting. This allows, if you have a preamp mounted maybe at the antenna or somewhere, it allows the preamp to switch to transmit. So if there are some slow relays, you might have to tweak that number. In the case of my station with the 9700, it uses a SSB electronic preamp at the antenna, and the coax carries 12 volt to the preamp, and when that one is switched on, the preamp goes in receive, and when it's switched off, it goes into transmit. And that takes not a lot of time. In fact, I can run with TX delay of 0, and it still works. I've set it to 50 milliseconds just to be sure that the relays have switched correctly. Please keep this number as low as possible. The higher the number you use, the more airtime you consume, and the more you block the satellite for other users, because you will emit a signal for that time until your real data is modulated. So if you wrote 2 seconds, you would actually block the satellite for 2 seconds before your actual data went up to the satellite. So keep this as low as possible and experiment. I think that's what I have to say about sound modem. As I said, a lot of other videos, descriptions on the net, how to set it up and how to make it work properly. Sorry. Again, this is Greencube Terminal, or Terminal as I call it. You can download that from my webpage, listed up here, Moonbounce DK, and you can find it in one of the links there from the main page, Greencube Terminal program. It's a big web page. It's a web page that has description of how to use the program and the features, but it's not updated. I'm using my time for adding features and fixing bugs and not writing documentation. So please bear that in mind, and don't be too angry with me. But most of the information is here. There are some videos how to do things. This video here will also pop up when done. There's a lot of description, screen dumps, and at the bottom of the very long page, you will find the download section. And this is the most dynamic section, because there are many versions coming out, many releases, many more than what's written here. And below the download, you will find the release notes. And please read those release notes. And also read the release notes for the previous versions, because a lot of the information here is not listed at the top of the page in the description, because it's so dynamic. So please do yourself and also me a favor to read what is in the release notes. Everything that is changed in terminal will be reflected in the release notes. The release notes are always updated and always correct. So in an ideal world, you would read, if you are new to terminal, you will start by reading the release notes from the bottom up. And I know it's a long time and it takes a long time and you just want to make some contacts. I don't read documentation. I mean, just click on some buttons and see if it works. But as I said, terminal is complex and it has a lot of features. So you need to sit down with a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you are going to drink and read through the release notes. I would say that 95% of the questions I get about terminal can be found in the release notes. I'm not saying they are perfect in any way or as such, but at least try and read the release notes before asking. I get a lot of questions about things and how to do this and that. And 95% of the times I can just, refer to the release notes. So please do me and yourself a favor to read that. With that out of view, let's turn back to terminal and get some things set up here. So settings and the main window. As you see, there is a lot of windows, groups, buttons, text, whatever on even colors on terminal. And it looks complicated and it looks I don't know. It's a bit much to take in for a first-time user, I think. But everything is there for a reason, and once you get to know it, you will find, I hope, that it is pretty easy and almost self-explanatory. I hope so. Anyway, let's get started. The main screen has a lot of windows, as I said, and buttons. It has some menu items. We will get into those in a moment. First of all, it has a list here with 10 macro buttons. These are macro buttons that you can configure a program to send out specific messages. This makes it easy to work new stations and so on. You can change the function and the text in those macro buttons. Default, 3 of them are already assigned when you install the program. These are the bare minimum you need in order to make a QSO with the station. Below that, you have the send message field. You can enter a call sign of a receiver. You can enter a message, and you can set a TX delay from 0 to 15 seconds. And there is no reason, I repeat, there is no reason to enter anything other than 0 here. The value or the entry field might disappear at some point, but please keep it at 0. There is no reason to change it from 0 whatsoever. F11, send message. What you type in here will be sent. F12, the call sign in the to field will be logged in a log in your log, and we'll get back to that later also. To the right of it, you have some statistics, unique call signs. How many unique call sign has been seen in this pass? How many times have your own package been digipeated? Or sorry, how many times have you transmitted to the satellite? How many times has your transmitted package been digipeated by the satellite and received by yourself? And this gives us a digipeat success rate. If all packages you send are being digipeated, this is 100% and so on. And don't be alarmed. As a new user, you will often see that the digipeat success is single digit on busy passes. If there are a lot of stations, you might see a digipeat success rate of 3 or 5%. On empty pass where there are almost no users, you can see 80, 90, sometimes 100% digipeat success. It all depends on how many users are active at the same time. You can also see how many times you have received, how many times you have sent and received your CQ message, how long time it was since the last CQ was sent out from you. You can see the total number of packets received from the satellite, total number of telemetry packets received from the satellite. You can see the average signal quality. This is shown in this graph over here. We will see that later. But this basically tells how well you receive the satellite. Telemetry RQ value is a little bit the same. This one monitors the telemetry frames from the satellites. It knows that every 45 seconds a telemetry package from the satellite should arrive. This one shows if you have missed any of those. So if you receive all telemetry packets, this number will be 100%. If you only received half of them for a given time period, this will be 50%, and so on. Station info we will get back to, but that basically shows your call sign, your grid locator, and information for the satellite selected. Signal quality here, as I said, shows the quality of the packets coming from the satellite. Below that you have the button COSI, call sign of special interest. Here you can enter a call sign, and all messages incoming will be monitored for this call sign. You can make a list of call signs. If that call sign pops up in the from or the to field or in the message, you will get a notification with a voice message. It's an optional thing. You don't have to use it. Some uses it and some don't. So it's there. The ignore list, pretty much the same. You can enter call signs of stations that you don't want listed in the traffic here. You can either have them written in dim gray, or they will be completely ignored. That's something to set up in settings. We'll get back to that also. Below here, scroll to last line. Just the way the traffic window works, if you can scroll up and down without being disturbed by incoming packets. Stay on top. If that one is enabled, any window that tries to come on top of terminal will be put behind it. So terminal will always be the topmost window. Show callers, which I recommend always is enabled. This will enable and disable this window here, which is called the calling me window. This one basically shows who is calling you. We will see that later on. This one selects which satellite to use, IO-117 or Greencube. It's the same. The only difference is how it is being logged in your log. If the satellite name is IO-117 or Greencube, normally the most people uses IO-117. That is what LOTW and so on requires for their logs. It also supports LED set and ISS or ARIS. When you select ARIS, you can also select which call sign to use for the VIA. This is something that is used in AX25 communication. And again, it's a little bit out of scope for this one. So if you know AX25, you know what to write there. But right now, we will just keep it at IO-117. As I said, we have the traffic window here, the big area where messages from the satellite will pop up. We have the calling me, where stations calling you will be shown. We have the dupe list, where all call signs received in a pass will be listed. We will see that shortly. The colors of the different things that are received can be changed down here by right-clicking. Sorry. Normal messages that are sent to me, CQ messages, my transmission, and my decouped messages. Dupe, in the dupe list here, they will be white if they are duplicates, red if it's a new grid, green if it's an initial call sign, and yellow if they are in the COSI list. We'll see that later. So let's do some settings. First of all, we need to set our call sign, and we also need to set our grid. This is used for reports and logging, and also showing the satellite's position in SL. Extra info, we will skip that here. You can read about it in in the release notes, which you probably already have read, as I said. Show telemetry. We will get a line in the traffic window for each telemetry message. Exclude call signs in ignore list. If you put somebody on the ignore list, they will not be shown at all. If you don't enable it, they will just be shown in gray. Enable multi-call, which is a very powerful tool where you can answer or send the same message to several call signs at once. This is especially useful for rovers and rare DXCC, where a lot of users are calling them. They can use the multi-call feature. Again, there is a separate video of how to use it and also description, so I won't touch that too much here. Add sat name, grid, and range to log. In comment in the log, you will get the range and grid and stuff written also. A little bit, it's not that important right now, but again, you can read about it in the release notes. Enable tooltips. You see that there are tooltips on all the entry fields, also in the main program. You can disable that. You can select the satellite. You can say how many days between download of LOTW user data. Normally I select 1 day, so every day a new set of LOTW data is downloaded from lotw.org and or from arl.org, and yeah, we will see what those informations are used for. What mode to write in the mode field when logging. Same for sat mode. This is not used that much, but some log programs requires it to be set correctly. Here you can change it. When logging multiple contacts with one click, some log programs requires a small delay between each log. I use AC log, and that one likes typically 5 seconds between each log. You can get a pop-up every time you log a station, or you can disable it. When somebody calls you and are put into the calling me list and you log the station is removed from the calling me list. This one will reinsert it if the station is calling you again for some reason. Normally it is just enabled, so it's not put in there. Hide traffic from delayed messages. If a message should arrive from the other side of the world with delayed messages, you can select to not show them at all in traffic window. I normally do that. Messages that are sent as store and forward does not count for any awards or anything, so I tend to just hide them and don't reply to them. But it's a personal choice. That's the settings, the general settings. Then we have settings for sound modem, and this is where most people, makes mistake. The first time they try to communicate over Greencube. You need to have the right IP address. You need to have the right port numbers, and the port numbers are very important. The port number and and also the IP address is also important. If you have a sound modem running on the same PC as terminal is using, then you will use 127.0.0.1. In my case, I have sound modem running on a separate PC, so I need to enter the IP address of that PC, and this is the IP address. Normally, as I said, 127.0.0.1 will work if you have it on the same PC as you're using. Then you need to set the correct port numbers, and these port numbers have to be the same as you used in sound modem. In my case, sound modem is set up to port 8100 for the KISS port. I set the same in terminal 8100. The AGWPE port is set to 8000. I set that to 8000 in terminal. These have to match or it will not work for you. So they are correct. TLE data. The program will fetch TLE data for the satellite via the internet. You can select to use local TLE data. If you do that, if you are roving and you don't have an internet connection, it will pick the TLE elements from that point. You will have to experiment, but if you know what TLEs are and so on, you know how to do this. Sound settings. There are a lot of sound messages from terminal. It can warn you about a new call sign you haven't worked before. You can get a message if somebody is calling you. You can get a message if cozy match, and you can get warning messages from what I call Sheriff Wyatt. Sheriff Wyatt is a gimmick in the program. If you do something that is regarded as not optimum behavior on the satellite, you will get a small warning pop up, and we will see that also in short. When you get a message about a new grid has been received, you will get a voice message that grid this and that has not been worked before, and you get that default. You only get that one time, but you can select and say that if there has been no message from that new station for, let's say, the last 5 minutes, and he suddenly comes up again, then you will get a new message that that this is a new station you haven't worked, or this is a new grid you haven't worked, and so on. So normally I set it to 5 minutes, but again, you can decide what you want. You can get messages that will alarm you when the satellite is about to get over the horizon, AOS. You can set a prefix text. You can write whatever it is, and the program will try its best to say what's what's in here. You can get a warning a number of minutes before the satellite rises. We can play. You can do a test here.
Meep meep. Pass for IO-117 starts in 3 minutes.
This is the type of message you will get when a satellite pops up. Also, the settings here.
Call sign NA1SS has not been worked before.
That's the type of message you will get if a new call sign has popped up. You will also get a new message if a grid you haven't worked before comes up. So this is the normal settings I use here. You can change the rate and volume and also type of voice and so on. The next one is the most complicated. That is the logging tab. Terminal can log contacts 4 different ways, yeah, there are many things to consider here. First off, you can log to many different log programs. Some log programs use TCP. Some log programs uses UDP. There's a special group for AC log, which I'll use. I will enable that here. Most people will use one or maybe 2 of these options at the same time. Terminal is made so that you can actually log to all 4 methods at once. So you will log a contact in all 4 formats here. Sorry, one that is particularly useful is the ADF logging. This one will log your contacts to an ADF file that you can import in other log programs or LOTW or whatever. And by doing so, you can log your contacts. If you are roving, you don't have internet access, you don't have a log program, and so on. You can just put it into to an ADF file. You can select the ADF file here, and the way most people does it is that when they start using terminal, they export all their IO-117 contacts, if they have some like that before, they export that to an ADF file, and then they point to that file in here. In my case, let's I have all my reports, all my contacts in here, so I will just point to that. You can also select this one, this option here, and it will create an ADF file that is named after your call sign and your grid. And that is really good for rovers that moves from grid to grid or changes call sign. So Terminal will create a unique call sign for each call sign, and will create a new ADF file for each unique combination of call sign and grids. And if you move back to the same grid again, it will just reopen the old one and continue in that ADF file. So, but that is for rovers. Normal stationary people will just use this, point to an ADF file, and be done. You can add azimuth elevation to the ADF record for the contact, and you can search the ADF file for call sign and grids not worked. When you activate these logging functions, only one of them can be used for searching for call and grid signs. In my case, I use AC log, but others can use ADF. So every time they log a contact, it will go into the ADF file, and the ADF file will be searched when a new message comes in. If it's a call sign or grid that already has been worked before. In my case, as I said, I'll use AC log, and I will log to both AC log and also an ADF file. TCP logging is for logging to N1MM and compatible log programs. I'm not using that here. UDP logging, if you want to send it as WSJT compatible logging, many different log programs can support that format. Ham Radio Deluxe. Yeah, there are many DXKeeper, Log4OM, and so on and so on. Much too much to mention. One thing I do want to notice is that TCP logging will also support a Cloud Log. Cloud Log has a small program that it will communicate with, and in that case, you can actually also use that one for searching for call signs and grids already worked. That's the only other program that supports it apart from AC log. Yeah, this one here is complicated. You can, for each logged contact, you can actually execute a Windows command, which could be TQSL with a lot of parameters. I won't get into that. It's complicated. If you don't need it, don't use it. If you need it, you probably already know how to use it. There is a help that tries to explain some of it, but it is complicated and most people are not going to use it anyway. QRZ lookup. It is so that when a contact comes in, I will use QRZ to look up what state, if it's a US call sign, what state the call sign is located in. It's your normal login to QRZ, and this is not something you need to change. You need, of course, to enable and show as US state. You will normally always do that. Yeah, that's it. Let's save, and if we are lucky, oh yeah, we get data from, there's actually an active pass right now which ends in 6 minutes. So let's change a few things here. Set some font sizes. We will change maybe that to 12 also. Yeah, that's okay. So we can see it. Also, we will do some changes of the width of some of this here. Bear with me. Here you see incoming traffic, call signs from, to, and the message, the signal quality. You also see the dupe list being being filled out. Each unique
call sign, Uniform Alpha 0 Alpha Echo Tango,
there we got
has a new grid locator, November Oscar 65, and has not been worked before.
There we got a perfect example of the new grid and new call signs. You can click on the column T since. This is the time since we last heard from the station. If you click on that, you will see when the station has LOS, when the satellite sets at their location. DL5 GAC, we can't see it because we haven't seen a message from him yet with his locator. So there's no information for his elevation or his LOS. But I'm sure Robert, he is about to lose the satellite soon also down in Germany. You get information for the grid, loss of signal, number of CQs from the station, number of transmissions we have seen from the station, the current elevation, what state he is in if it's a US station, and LOTW information. That is the information. A star is if he uploaded less than 30 days, as we set in settings. Otherwise, it will show how long it is since he uploaded. If there's nothing written, the user is not currently on the LOTW. So that was a lot of information in very short time. At the same time, you see up here in the traffic window, you saw that the signal quality goes from 0 to 100. That is shown up here. The y-axis is the signal quality. The x-axis is the current elevation you have. So you can see the satellite is on the way down, and we will see some fluctuations. I have a large building and trees in that direction where the satellite goes down. Before let me see, before the satellite completely goes out of view, we will double click on a UA0AAT. We will try and send him a message. You saw that the orange line from me to UA0, I send a message J045. I saw it 3 seconds later, it was digipeated. It comes back in the rosa color. And now we wait for UA0 to reply. If we are lucky, he replies. If we're unlucky, he will not make it before we lose the satellite in 2 minutes. Up here, as I said, we have the azimuth and the elevation of the satellite. We have the range in kilometers. We have the Doppler on receive and transmit currently to the satellite. Every time you get in a message or you click on a line, you can see at the bottom you will have the DXCC shown, the local time without taking account into daylight saving and so on. This is information from a file downloaded from the net for all DXCC entities. If we are lucky, we will get more frames in, and if we are not lucky, we won't see any more, but we can simulate, so no problem. We can, let me see, what else do we need here? Yeah, we will do that simulated. Just need to make sure that nothing more is coming in. While we wait for that, let's look at the buttons up here. You saw that when I double clicked on UA0, this call sign popped up into the 2, and I could actually write anything here, and it will be sent as a message to him. What I did instead was I pressed the F2 button, and yeah, you see we did get no digipeats from the satellite anymore, so it's probably too low now to be heard. If you click on one of these buttons, it will, as I said, send a message. If you right-click on the button, you can go in and change the contents of those macros. The label is just the label written up here. The message we will get back to. If you leave the call sign empty, it will use whatever call sign is in the toolbox. If you enter some kind of some call sign here, that one will be used as the to call sign. TX delay, same story as before. Keep it at 0 at all times. No need to change it. Oh, sorry. And in this case, you see that instead of writing J045, which would be the obvious thing to do because I'm in J045, I have instead set migrate 4 in brackets, and there are a number of placeholders. You can see that in the release notes, but migrate 4 is one of them. Basically, it takes whatever grid you have entered in settings and takes the 4 first characters, in this case J045, and sends that out. There are other things you can use here, but again, look in the release notes and get a feeling for what's there. Again, RR73s is another message, and the CQ is a second or third one. Again, where you use the grid, and the to call is CQ. So if I press now we lost the satellite. So if I press CQ, you can see that it will get out with the to CQ, and the message is just J045. If someone replies me, I can double click on their call sign and just place or just press F3, Roger 73, which tells them that I saw their message and all is okay. That's the basics of it. So now we will, as the satellite is gone, we will go and turn to doing some simulated traffic, which is a lot easier to explain. So I just paused the video and I pressed clear traffic, clear statistics, and clear lists. So now we have a completely clean view here. One thing that is nice to have in Terminal is what I call the inject window. Again, you can see it in the description on the web page and also in the release notes. But basically, you click somewhere in the traffic window and then you press the letter J for Juliet on the keyboard. And this message or this window will pop up. And what the inject window does is actually it simulates the sound modem and the satellite. So Terminal cannot see if a message is coming from the satellite or from the inject window. Well, it can, but yeah, we'll see that in a moment. It reacts completely as if the message was sent from the satellite. So let's make a test here. Let's send out a CQ. When I pressed F1, you saw the send message turn red, and you saw the progress bar down here turning red, and at some point it turns green. This is the time it takes for the message to reach the satellite, being processed, being output from the satellite, being decoded by the sound modem, and being received by the terminal. And this takes between 2.8 and 3.3 seconds. So the progress bar down here is activated. It turns red when you transmit, and you are not able to transmit before the green bar shows up, and this one is not red anymore. There's no reason to send another message out before A, you received the answer back from the satellite, your own digipeated message, or B, the timeout of 3.3 seconds has elapsed. If you do like transmit, there's no, I mean, you don't know if the first message you send actually is going to be digipeated or not. And if it gets digipeated, you have basically, robbed another user the possibility of getting a packet through, because you just click to send 2 messages. And don't do that. Honestly, don't do it. You only rob the possibility for others to use the satellite, and you cause unnecessary noise. Send one packet, wait for it to be digipeated. If not, you can send another packet. But please don't try and send 2, 3, 4, 5 packets just by click. Uh, Again, you don't know if the first and the second and the third and the fourth one actually all got digipeated. And if they did, I mean, you sent 4 messages with the same contents, and there's just no need for it. So don't do it. And that's why it's implemented like that in terminal. It's not possible. You can't transmit 2 messages within 3.3 seconds, because you don't need to, because you need to know if the first one actually was digipeated or not. There are other client programs or terminal programs out there that will allow you to go nuts and transmit endless amounts of transmissions after each other. And unfortunately, some users are doing that, and it's bad. Don't do it, please. Greencube is a shared resource with many users, and we all need to behave a little bit less selfish. So don't do it. Anyway, back to this. Let's clear this and start with a clean sheet of paper again. In this case, let's simulate that our own call is being digipeated by the satellite. Okay. I send out a CQ, and the time goes. Well, we didn't hear from the satellite, but in this case, we actually did. We simulated that the call I just made was in fact returned from the satellite. It took 8 seconds because, I was slow, but normally you will see the reply within 2 to 3 seconds from the satellite. The only way to see that it was a simulated message is I add this injected comment in the message. And the signal quality is always the same as the last message you received from the satellite in real. So don't trust the signal quality. So we send out a CQ to the world. Let's say that K in one LED sent a reply back. He sent a reply to OZ9 Alpha Radio, and he is in, let's say he's in Fox Nancy 01. Okay, so now a message comes from the satellite from N1 LID. He is sending a message to me. He's in Fox Nancy 01.
Call sign, November 1 Lima India Delta has not been worked before. Message to me from November 1 Lima India Delta.
So you got 2 voice messages. The line from N1 LID is painted blue because all messages to me should be painted blue. Okay. He sent me Fox Nancy 01. He will be inserted in the dupe list with a green line because it's a call sign I have not worked before. The grid I have worked before, Fox Nancy 01. Otherwise, the line would have been red because the grid takes precedence over the call sign and the initial call sign status. In this line, we see his call sign grid, and he has LOS. He has made one transmission. That was the one he just made. He has not called CQ, and his current elevation is minus 5.2 degrees. That's why it says LOS. Yep. He is in Maryland, and he's an active LOTW user. So you also, sorry. When you look in the calling me list, this is, as I said, the list of stations that has called you. When a call sign is inserted in the calling me list, the line will turn red if the call sign has LOS. Normally it will not be. It will be in black because, I mean, it's if somebody calls you, he has probably not LOS, but eventually he can get LOS, but we will return to that. So we was called by N1LID. In this case, I will go and I will double click N1LID. His call sign will get up in the to field, and I can just press Roger, Roger,
Whoopsie,
7
Sheriff Wyatt has an important message for you.
And here we have the Sheriff Wyatt coming up, because Sheriff Wyatt has detected that the call sign you're trying to call has minus 5.4 degrees of elevation. So there's really no reason to call him. But in our case, as we're simulating, we don't care. So we say, yeah, send anyway. So we send out a message to N1LID, and we simulate that call sign was actually repeated by the satellite. It comes here. And at some point, let's hope that N1LID, he sees the message and also sends back
message to me from November
Roger,
1
Roger,
Lima
7
India
trees.
Delta.
So we now have a complete QSO. So now we have a contact. We could go up, right click here, and press lock call sign N1LID. This would remove the call sign from this window and put it into the log. We do, yeah, you can do other things. You can clear the list. You can send a request to AC log not used by others than AC log users. You can add it, the call sign, to the COSI list or the ignore list, or you can log it. Yeah, that's nice. We selected a TCP logging, but that one is not currently connected. We go to settings, we check the logging. Yeah, it was enabled. Now it's not. Let's see, like this. So it's gone because it got an error. It was actually logged to the other methods, ADF and AC log, but it was not logged on the TCP log because it was not started the program. So it doesn't matter. We can do another one. We can say that N2 lit called me.
Call sign, November 2
Okay.
Lima India Delta has not been worked before.
N2
message
lit.
to me from November 2 Lima India Delta.
We send him also.
Whoopsie, Sheriff Wyatt has an important message for you.
We send. We simulate. The message got back. Complete QSO. We go up, we right click, lock call sign, and it's locked. And you saw that when I locked the contacts, they were removed from the calling me list. The idea of the calling me list is that if a lot of call signs are calling you, let's say a number of callers are calling you.
Call sign, November 5 Lima India Delta has not been worked before. Message to me from November 5 Lima India Delta. Call sign, November 6 Lima India Delta has not been worked before.
That are calling you now.
Message to me from November 6 Lima India Delta.
When you get on Greencube,
call sign,
the first time,
November 7 Lima India Delta has not been worked before.
Everybody is hungry for new call
Message
signs,
to me from
so
November 7 Lima India Delta.
In this case, let's say that I want to reply to all these callers at once. You see, I click on keep down control and click each of the call signs. If I now go up into and press one of the buttons, you see some magic happening here. I sent the same message to 3 call signs at the same time. Okay, so now I send the message out to these 3 callers in one single message. Normally you would send one message to each of the callers and occupy more airtime. Sending 3 and up to 5 call signs will actually only add around 200 milliseconds more airtime to your transmission. So this is something you need to take in mind, that this is actually a great benefit when you are getting called by many stations. Answer or reply to several stations at once. And when you have done that, and let's say that all the callers have replied to you with the Roger 73s or whatever, you can just say that, these 2 are complete. I go up, I log them, and they are in your log. And at some point, N6 lit, he also replies, you log him, they are gone. Now you know that they are gone. And if for some reason they send you a new
Message to me from November 7
they will
Lima
not
India
pop up
Delta.
again in the calling list because you logged them. And as we showed in settings, hold on, let me show you. This is the option that enables you either to reinsert callers or not in the calling me list. Okay. So this is pretty much all of it. And as I said before, the inject test messages is a marvelous tool, especially for new users. It allows you to enter a lot of stuff into the terminal program to test out how things are working, how you log, how you can, the different colors is used. There are tons of things you can try out with the inject test messages. When the satellite is above the horizon and you track it and you use it, it tends to get sometimes it can get a bit chaotic, and you sit as a new user and you're a little bit worried that, am I doing this right? Am I replying correctly? What is this button for? How do I do this and that? And using the inject test messages, you can sit relaxed and in a controlled environment and actually see what is going on and try out the different things. So inject test messages, I would say it's pretty much mandatory for a new user to use. I use it, of course, during development for doing stuff, but normal users can also benefit from it, as I said, to test and try out features and also if users find some problem or bug in the program, it is easier to use the inject test messages and try out and see if they can pinpoint what is exactly wrong. What am I doing? What am I not doing correctly in order to have this bug to show up? And that helps me a lot when trying to fix stuff. If people can give me a precise and objective bug report. Before you saw that that the famous Sheriff Wyatt is popping up.
Sheriff Wyatt has an important message for you.
He is he is I hope people will smile a bit when they get him. He is there for a reason. He is trying to take out most of the not needed behavior on the satellite. I can give you an example. Let me say that I'm going to write a message to N7 lit. I'm making him a long message. Hello, my dear friend. How are things? I want to send that message to him.
Whoopsie, Sheriff
And
Wyatt has an important message for
in
you.
this case, yeah, this is a bad example because he has no he has no view. Let me find. Let me see. Let me take another example. I would just say that there's a guy here in Papa 05 that sent me a message.
Call sign, Charlie 1 Charlie Alpha Lima Lima, has a new grid locator, Papa 05 and has not been
LOS
worked
in
before.
6 minutes and
Message to me from Charlie 1 Charlie Alpha Lima Lima.
I want to send him a message, a long message. Hello, my dear friend, how are things?
Whoopsie, Sheriff Wyatt has an important message for you.
Sheriff Wyatt will pop up and tell you that please try and reduce your messages to less than 20 characters. Right now you're trying to send 37 characters with a spelling error. This is again something, reduce your messages, you will take up airtime and you will minimize the time for other users on the satellite. Now, if it's a empty pass where only you and a good friend is, I mean, no reason not to send a funny message or whatever. And as you can always send anyway, so the message will actually be sent out. But it's there to remind you that maybe it's not a good idea to send stuff like that. There's another, let's say that I send out a CQ. I send CQ to CQ, and the message I send is just my grid. Okay, that's the most compact form. It takes almost no space. What if I wrote CQ from J045 and tried to send that out?
Whoopsie.
Again, the
Sheriff
sheriff will
Wyatt
come
has
up and
an
say,
important message for
well,
you.
Friend, you already have CQ in the to field. There's no need to write CQ in the message because I mean it's already there. It's already shown in the to, so don't write it in the message. Again, this allows you to, reduce the length, use less airtime, more people can get to the satellite. Okay, so the sheriff will pop up in different scenarios if something is done a bit, how should I put it, non-optimal. Let's say that that I am calling CQ. Okay, let's say that this is what I'm going to. So, hold on. So I'm doing a CQ, okay, and I get a DigiPeat from the satellite. Okay, I heard your CQ and it is sent out. So everybody heard my CQ now. Okay, I'm impatient. So 10 seconds later, oh, I'm doing another CQ.
Whoopsie, Sheriff Wyatt has
Again,
an important message for you.
Says, oh, honestly, it's less than 5 minutes since you sent your last CQ call out. Please, think about, is that really needed? And a small addition to that, if LOS is within the last 5 minutes or so, you're allowed to send CQs out with 1 minute delays. But unless that, I mean, don't send CQs every time. And some users actually send 4 or 5 CQs in a row. They just click, click, click. So you see 4 CQs from one station. Why? I mean, wait and see if the first CQ came out before you send another one. Using terminal, you get even more nagging messages that, please don't do it. Some of the records we have seen, and records is not in a positive way, is up to 60 CQ calls on a pass. We even saw 47 CQ calls in 28 minutes. I mean, what's the point, guys? It's not needed. Don't call CQ that often. Again, we all need to be on the satellite, so be friendly and don't flood it with not needed messages. Yeah, that was Sheriff Wyatt. He can pop up at different times, and he's there for a reason, as I said. He's there with a smile, but he's also there to perhaps make you think a bit about what you're doing. So we are getting close to the end now. Last couple of things. In the bottom of the window here, you see some text labels. Digipeater is on or off. This is only a cosmetic thing. Every time a telemetry message is received from the satellite tells me if the digipeater is active or not, and that is shown down there. So sometimes the satellite has the digipeater on, but it sends out that it is off. Sometimes it writes that it is on, but it is off. So yeah, you can't. I mean, if you see packets from other users, the digipeater is on. If you only see telemetry packages, yeah, that's digipeater is not on. So that's really the best thing. Sound modem connected tells you if you have a connection to the sound modem or not. TCP lock connected or disconnected. That is if you have in settings. If you have, hold on, let me get rid of this. If you in logging have a TCP/IP connection enabled or logging enabled, it will show down here if it's connected to the logging program. AC log connected. If you are connected to AC log, which I am in my case, it will show here. And again, this is the progress bar. Red, you can transmit. Green, you can transmit. Red, you cannot transmit yet. You got the date and time in UTC down here. I think that is pretty much what I have to say. Again, you can hover on many of the items and you will get pop-up messages. In this case, you see I tried to do 8 transmissions. I had 4 of them digipeated, so my digipate success is 50%. This is the number of minutes and seconds since my last transmission attempt, minutes and seconds since my last receive attempt, or since my last received packet. You see this was the CQ, and now it's actually been more than 5 minutes. So if I press, I was allowed to make another CQ because it was more than 5 minutes ago. Okay, if I, and you can see I have sent out 2 CQs. The last one digipeated was more than 5 minutes ago. Again, that is because I wasn't digipeated. I simulated that, so now it's only 2 seconds since my digipeated CQ was received. Digipeated packet RX and telemetry is only active when the satellite is really there, and also the average signal quality and so on. As we run simulated here, those values are not shown. But yeah, that's that's pretty much all that is to it. If you have any comments, questions, and so on, I'm active on Twitter. I'm active on Facebook. There is an IO-117 Greencube users group on Facebook where a lot of the users using Greencube are active. I'm also active. I try to answer most questions. Luckily, many other users are also answering, so sometimes I don't even have to touch the keyboard. Somebody else will answer. That's nice. And otherwise, I'm also available on email, but please try and read the web page and the release notes before you send me an email. Often the questions you have can be answered by reading the release notes and or the web page. But other than that, you're of course free to send me a message or mail or whatever and ask whatever. Also, if you have any new feature requests, good ideas or so on, feel free to send it. Many of the features and things in Terminal has been done the way they are because of users writing me with very good suggestions. So thank you to all that have sent me ideas and bug reports and whatnot. It's only that way we can make a great thing. So sorry for the long-winded video. I hope you at least got some out of it. And remember, read the release notes and use the inject window. That's it. Signing off here from OZ9 Alpha Alpha Radio. Take care and enjoy the satellite. Bye-bye.